Hello and welcome to today's Happy Hour Tour. I am Brenda with AARP Arizona. We are the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that is dedicated to empowering people 50 and older to choose how they live as they age. With a nationwide presence, AARP strengthens communities and advocates for what matters most to more than 100 million Americans, 50 plus, and their families: health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. AARP also produces the nation's largest circulation publications, the AARP Magazine and Bulletin. During January, we will be focusing on the thriving job market. As the demand for online, flexible, and remote work increases, more workers over 50 are interested in remaining or rejoining the workforce. However, ageist and age discrimination practices remain a significant barrier between them and job access industries. Experienced workers need to be educated about the factors that come into play for their career journeys and how they can equip themselves to overcome them, remain competitive, and achieve results. ARP is a wise friend and a fierce defender of older Americans and has programs, offerings, and resources to help. In an uncertain economy and rapidly changing market, you can count on ARP to help you navigate your job search, career path, and fight back against age bias. We are also fighting to strengthen age discrimination laws, increase protections, and help companies across the country foster age-diverse workforces that value experience. Visit us at www.aarp.org/work for tips, tools, and resources to help stay competitive in the job market. Thank you again, and with that, I'll turn it over to Marshall.
Folks, welcome to the show. Get ready to meet your host for the night, Arizona's very own hip historian himself, Marshall Shore.
Well, hello and good evening. I want to welcome you all to Arizona History Happy Hour and Happy New Year. It is indeed 2024. Oh my gosh. Hope you had a good New Year's and holiday season. So I am Marshall Shore. I am the host of Arizona History Happy Hour, and I'm so happy that you can join us. Whether you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or even watching, maybe you're watching after the fact on YouTube, on the Hip Historian channel. I am just happy you are here. Or also you could be listening to us on Spotify or on iTunes. Again, happy that you are here, and thank you so much. My name is Marshall Shore, and I am the host of Arizona History Happy Hour. And today is January 18th. Oops, and I forgot to change the year to 2024. Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's skedaddle on to. So on this date, back in 1939, it was announced that there would be a monument built to commemorate Fray Marcos de Niza and where he first entered Arizona. Now, Marcos de Niza led the first Spanish expedition to explore the Southwest. It is said that he found extreme amounts of wealth, possibly even the 7 cities of Cibola. But, you know, it may have been they were actually more mirages than actual locations. Now, this is located in the town of Lochiel, which we will talk about in just a little bit. Now, it is also National Winnie the Pooh Day because back in 1882, A.A. Milne, the author, was born. Now, those iconic animals that he used to create stories for his son, Christopher Robin, they now live at the New York Public Library. At one point they were on tour with the publisher. And then in the late 40s, they were donated to New York Public Library, where they sit today. So all those adoring fans can go and watch. Those animals just sit there and look so adorable. It is also Gourmet Coffee Day for aficionados and enthusiasts across the country that just can't get through without a tasty cup of caffeine. It pays homage to that rich, aromatic elixir that so many of us use to keep our day moving forward. It is also National Thesaurus Day. This honors Peter Mark Roget, who authored Roget's Thesaurus, and he was born this date in 1779. Now, he had retired from a career in medicine and then spent the rest of his life collecting and categorizing lists of words, and thereby creating Roget's Thesaurus. So thank you all so much. What can you expect from tonight? Well, we've got our very special guest coming up in just a few minutes. We also do some trivia, as well as Little Arizona. We've got some music history and a beverage, of course. And since this is our first show of the year, we're going to do some special things. With any luck, everything will actually work. That's kind of the fun or not so fun. Now, I said my name is Marshall Shore. I'm also known as the Hip Historian. And so what that means is I get to play with Arizona history. Why, just coming up the day before the Super Bowl, you can pre-game with us. We are going to take a walking tour of downtown as we get a chance to talk about and look at some haunted and some history of downtown. That's going to be February 10th. So pre-game with us and let's go have some fun. But, also the following week, I'm going to be down in Tucson as we get ready for the Tucson Desert Art Museum. They are doing Gold Fever, Glory, and Greed in the Western expansion years. And so we're going to be talking about some of that stuff through trivia, some history, and some fun. So be sure and give them a call and reserve your spot today. And then, oh my gosh, we are going to be several months ago, we had on Kate talking about Karen Kuykendall, who was a kind of a local Arizona cat artist. And so she has decided she is going to be doing Cat Fest, which is Saturday, February 24th from 10 to 4 at the Mesa Historical Museum. And it's going to be so much fun. There's going to be crafts. There's going to be education. I'm going to be doing a presentation on some quirky cat history, which you might be shocked to find out that Arizona actually does have some. And so it's going to be a fun event. Come on out, spend the day with us. There's going to be local vendors, as well as you could even adopt a cat. All right. As well, that same day is at the Pioneer Cemetery. They are going to be doing walkthrough tours where you'll get to hear from folks actually playing some of those folks who are actually buried there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure you can go to their website, which is azhistorycemeteries.org, and check out there. You can buy tickets there or also at the door for the event. Be sure to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also coming up, oh my gosh, what a busy month we've got. And so, February is going to be crazy because it is Statehood Day and Valentine's Day. And so the Alwyn House has been doing a variety of things every February for decades. And so this year they are doing, again, the Erotic Poetry and Music Festival. And I'm going to be presenting there, talking a little bit about Rusty Warren, that knockers up gal, the reason that she is in the Library of Congress, billed as the birth mother of the sexual revolution. So we'll talk a little bit about what is knockers up. As well as then early March, we are going to be doing Melrose Street Fair again, March 2nd. From 11 to 5. Oh my gosh, it's such a fun day to get out there and meet your neighbors, run into folks you haven't seen in a while. It's going to be so much fun. I will have a booth there, as well as, and I know lots of other folks will have booths there. So come on out and check us out. I love to hear from you all because some of you give me some of the best ideas for guest programs, things like that. And so we have a beverage coming up from PJ, and I'm so excited because we actually have the man himself.
Hey, PJ Vader Baron here, and this month's episode of the History Happy Hour is featuring My Darling Rhonda, a cocktail from the Renaissance Hotel where our special guest Rhonda has worked for almost 50 years. This cocktail was made to honor her. We're going to go through it real quick. This is St. George California Citrus Vodka. Citrus actually meaning 3 different kinds of oranges. So it's got the kind of orange that they make tea out of for florality, the kind of orange that they use for liqueurs for a little spice, and the kind of orange that they make juice out of for just a really pleasant fruitiness. We're going to do a strawberry liqueur as well. We're going to do some fresh kiwi puree. Make it a little tropical and exotic for our girl. A little fresh lime to brighten it up. Oh yeah. And some really cool Russian honey bitters. Keep it going there. Okay. Now, the third most important part of creating a great cocktail is to give it a great name. So this is My Darling Rhonda, after our darling Rhonda. And the second most important part of creating a great cocktail is to smile while you shake it. Ready? Hell yeah. All right. In honor of our girl who represents downtown Phoenix in all fun ways, this is My Darling Rhonda. Garnish with a beautiful little flower here. Thanks and cheers.
Thank you so much, PJ. And now as we move on, it is Little Arizona time. And so I'm going to try something new as well. So you can see Lochiel is basically just north of the border, not very far at all, and not far at all from Nogales as well. Now, it was founded in the late 1870s. Originally, it was called La Noria because it was inhabited by a group of Mexican settlers. And that means Spanish for wheel-drawn well. Later, it became Latrell before being renamed Lochia. Now, it got renamed because there was a robber baron named Colin Cameron who established the San Rafael Ranch not far at all. And he managed to convince the postmaster to basically rename the town for his homeland back in Scotland. Now, when they did do surveys, they found that the town was actually split. And so Lochia is on the north side. South side, you still have La Noria on the other side of the border. In the early 1910s, it's said that Pancho Villa and his men rustled cattle and horses in this area. And then in the late 1990s, it was sold to the Nature Conservancy and state parks to use as a nature preserve. Now, if you go visit, you can find a variety of structures. There is an old schoolhouse built before 1905. And that what holds the plaque which is a testament to or a monument built to Fray Marcos de Niza and his first foray into the Southwest. And the point in Arizona History Happy Hour where you get to hear from someone else other than just me. And I am so excited to bring on my friend Rhonda. Oh my gosh. Hello, Rhonda. How are you?
Welcome, Marshall. Thanks for having me on your show.
I am so happy to see you. So, Rhonda, for folks that don't know much about you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Rhonda Benston Showman, and I moved to Phoenix in 1971, and I started working at the Adams Hotel in 1975.
So that was a long time ago. You've been there a while.
Yes, 48 years. So it's been a fun ride for me at the hotel.
Indeed. And so recently, what just happened?
I just won a big award for J.W. Willard Award for Excellent Service. I can't even talk. So, out of all the employees all over the world with Marriott, they chose 500, and then it went down to 10, and I was 1 out of 10. So it was an honor to be able to go to Bethesda and tour the Marriott's new headquarters and be recognized by the Marriott Hotel, which was a great honor.
Wow, that's really cool.
It was. So I was with people from China, Fiji, Mexico City, Poland, and everybody had a different job. So we were a mixture of different nationalities and different careers. So it was very interesting.
Wow, that's really cool. All right. And I'm sure in those 48 years, you had many experiences, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. So, okay. So we always do trivia here on Happy Hour. And so our trivia is not like when you do just bar trivia and all we care about is the answer. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of our questions, come back, and then we are going to tell the story of some of all of those questions. So, all right. So our first question is, what did the Hotel Adams sign say at once? What did it say once? A, hot L, B, hot damn, C, lad, or D, ho L Ada. What do you think that the sign at one point here on the Adams Hotel said? All right, as we move on to question 2. What did Governor Hunt do at the Adams after signing Arizona into statehood? Did he A, take a nap? B, have a Manhattan at the bar? C, have his shoe shined? Or D, get his head shaved? Which one of those things do you think that Governor Hunt did at the Adams Hotel after signing Arizona into statehood? All right, question 3. Where did the downtown Phoenix Woolworths luncheonette counter end up? Was it A, the Renaissance Hotel, B, the Sugar Bowl, C, Caesar's Palace, or D, the City Dump? Where do you think Woolworths luncheonette counter from downtown Phoenix ended up? All right, question 4. Where was Unique Auto Race held from 1989 to 1991? Was it A, the State Fairgrounds, B, downtown Phoenix, C, the Beeline Highway, or D, Phoenix International Raceway? All right, moving on to that halfway point. Here we are at question 5. What was the alley behind the hotel known as? A, a hangout for newsies, B, the best place to get a shave, C, a garbage dump, or D, Skid Row / red light district? All right, moving on to question 6. In 1945, who was found in the lobby of the Adams Hotel? Was it A, Jurgen Wattenberg, C, B, Melinda Curtis, C. John Udall, or D. Pablo Picasso? So back in 1945, who do you think was found in the lobby of the Adams Hotel? All right, question 7. The tallest building in Arizona had what restaurant at the top? A. Cloud 9, B. Arizona Club, C. The Golden Eagle, or D. Copper Door? So which one of those restaurants do you think was at the very top of the tallest building in Arizona? All right, question 8. What movie has a speeding bus by the hotel, or has a bus speeding by the hotel? A. Wildcat Bus, B. The Gauntlet, C. The Journey, or D. The Runaway Bus? All right. So which one of those movies do you think had a speeding bus running right by the hotel? Question 9. The hotel has gone by many names, but it was not known by what name? A. The Adams, B. The Sheraton, C. The Holiday Inn, or D. Radisson? Which one of those did this hotel not be known by? And question 10. Back in 1976, the horrific Don Bolles bombing happened. How was the hotel involved? A. Adamson was caught in the basement. B. Reporters stayed on the 15th floor. C. The car was kept in secured parking. Or D. The crime was planned in the bar. Oh my gosh. Why, it could be any one of those. Maybe it's all of them. Who knows? All right. All right. So while you are locking in your final answers, we have a little bit of Arizona music trivia. And so for tonight, we are going to talk briefly about the Celebrity Theater, which opened its doors back in 1964 as the Star Theater, and with The Sound of Music and other musicals, as well as it started bringing in celebrities like Tennessee Ernie Ford, Dinah Shore, Liberace, Wayne Newton. They were filling those seats while you had Robert Goulet, Sammy Davis Jr., Rowan and Martin from Laugh Ed were just a few of the high-profile acts. Now, what was interesting was all those performers had the opportunity it was built originally as theater in the round with a rotating stage. So even in the 70s, when you had folks like Linda Ronstadt, Gordon Lightfoot, Miles Davis appearing there, many times they would be skeptical about a revolving stage, but it soon found a place in their heart that they enjoyed. So there you go, the Celebrity Theater. Have you seen a show there? I know I have seen many a show. So now who is ready for some answers? I know I sure am. Rhonda, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. All right, so what did the Hotel Adams sign say once? B, hot damn. Well, why did it say that? Was that when they imploded the hotel?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Well, they made the sign on top of the old Adams Hotel was a big sign, and it said Hotel Adams. On the day they had the hotel imploded, they fixed the sign that said hot damn. So as the hotel is crumbling to the ground, all you could see was this sign that said hot damn on top of the rubble, which was quite exciting.
Okay, so that was that in the 70s when they imploded that?
That was, I want to say, March 1973. And I think it was 20 months to the day we opened as the new Adams Hotel on April Fool's Day, 1975.
Wow. Okay, so how many hotels have there been on site?
There's been 3 Adams Hotels. The first one was built in 1889 and burnt in 1910. The second one was built in 1910 and imploded in 1973. And then we opened April 1st, 1975 as the new Adams Hotel.
Wow. I didn't realize there had been that many hotels here. All right, so question 2. What did Governor Hunt do at the Adams after signing Arizona into statehood? The answer is B. He had a Manhattan at the bar.
And then after they left the Capitol, they walked to the Adams Hotel, and Governor Hunt went into the old bar at the hotel and ordered a Manhattan. That was his favorite drink. A few years ago, we made a drink for Governor Hunt, and we called it the Old Walrus because he did look like, his mustache looked like a walrus. So that was his nickname.
Indeed, with that big mustache and that bald head, he does kind of look like a walrus.
Yes.
All right. Question 3. Where did the downtown Phoenix Woolworths luncheonette counter end up? Caesar's Palace. Huh?
There's quite the story to this. My next door neighbors were very into old things, and especially old diners, or anything that had to do with the diner. And they purchased the counter from Woolworths and had it brought in and put into their house. And so their house looked like Woolworths counter. They had all the fixings and everything that went with it. And then they decided to move to a bigger home, and so they had to sell. And Caesar Palace bought their that luncheonette from Woolworths, and so that's where it is at today in Las Vegas.
Wow. I tried to get some friends to go by and look and see if it's still there. And so far, nobody's gotten back to me. But next time I go up there, I'm definitely going to head to Caesar's Palace and see
if you can get there.
Yeah. With those stools and everything else, it would have just been a classic.
Exactly.
Wow. So do you remember what downtown was like when there was shopping, when Woolworths actually was open?
When I started here, there was Newberry's was on the other end of the block, or down at that end of the block. Lerner's, all the department stores were here. I think J.C. Penney's was here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the Penney's building that was torn down. Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, over a block off of Washington, over on Madison, there were all the Skid Row bars. So, yeah, Phoenix, when I started, yes, there were stores and people were shopping downtown. And then it slowly moved out of downtown and went uptown to Park Central, to the malls, and then out on Thomas to the different malls.
Indeed. All right. Question 4. Where was a unique auto race held from 1989 to 1991? B, downtown Phoenix. So, Rhonda, what kind of race was it?
It was Formula One, and what an excitement it was. It raced downtown. They had the streets all blocked off. The noise from the cars was incredible. But unfortunately, it only lasted 3 years because it cost so much money to go to the race that people just couldn't afford to go. So it was supposed to have lasted 5 years, but it only lasted 3 years. But it was very, very exciting. And it drew people from all over the world came to see the people race.
Wow, that would have been incredible. I mean, those cars are not very quiet.
No. Oh, it was loud and bouncing off the buildings. It was incredible.
And it must be incredible to look out the window and see these cars go zipping by at outrageous speeds. Wow, that's really cool. All right. What was the alley behind the hotel known as? Why, it was Skid Row / the Red Light District. It was also known as Melinda's Alley. And so is there a bar there now named that?
Yes, there is. It's called Melinda's Alley, and it's in the basement of the Renaissance Hotel. So at one time, Ma Linda Curtis lived in a house on this street, in this alley, where it was the red light district. And so she would frequent all the bars and drink and fight and whatever was going on Skid Row.
Indeed. And I think it's so cool that they then named the bar for her.
Right.
So, I mean, because, people loved, it was like because the alley for the longest time was called Melinda's Alley.
Right.
And so we finally found out about Melinda Curtis, and it was just as basically people really appreciated her assistance when they needed it. Right. And so that's why they called it Melinda's Alley. And so, and that bar is so much fun. So now, is the bar open every day?
It's open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. When the red light's on, the bar is open.
Indeed. When that red light is on, you can go down the stairs and have a drink in Melinda's Alley. Now, one of the things I love about that space is on the one end, there's the small room where you can start to see all the different layers of foundation from the other hotels that have been here before.
Right. And those doors that go into that room are the original doors from the Second Adams Hotel. They were the front doors into the hotel. So those etched glasses they saved from the hotel when they imploded it. There were only 3 things they saved. They saved the old bar and the doors, and they saved a chandelier.
Oh, wow.
That's the only thing they saved when they imploded it.
Now, when they were getting ready to implode the hotel, I've had people talk about how they would come and they could buy like the lamp sconces off the walls,
right,
out of the rooms and everything else. So that must have been quite a happening.
Right. I think the first day when it was the father and his 3 sons, they came from Georgia and they set the charges off in the hotel to implode it. And all of a sudden it just made like a poof and nothing happened. So they went back in the next day and redid the charges, and that's what brought it down. And only 9 windows were broken over at the Valley Bank building from the explosion, from the debris that was flying around. So it was pretty incredible sight to see.
Yeah, that would have been. To just kind of watch that building come down and onto itself.
Right.
All right. Question 6. In 1945, who was found in the lobby of the Adams Hotel? Why, it was none other than A, Jurgen Wattenberg. And why is that important that he was found in the lobby?
Well, this is pretty incredible story. In 1945, over at the Papago Park, those were prisoner of wars that were over there. So there was all kinds of barracks that they had these prisoners in. And this gentleman, and I think 4 or 5 other ones, thought they could ride the Salt River and flee. But when they got to the river, they realized there was no water. So he ended up walking to downtown Phoenix and ended up in the Adams Hotel in the lobby. And that's when he was arrested.
Wow. And I think the other guys had gotten caught. So he was the last one kind of on the lam.
I think he was the last one.
Wow. And so they found him right here in the hotel lobby.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So question 7, the tallest building in Arizona and still stands today had what restaurant at the very top? C, the Golden Eagle.
And the Golden Eagle was a restaurant to go to. It was absolutely beautiful. At night with the sunset facing west, it was beautiful. And all the glass windows looking out with all the sparkly lights of downtown. So it was the place to go to.
Wow. Did you ever go?
Oh, all the time. Yes. Many happy hours up there. And it was great food. Great food. It was a lovely place to go to. And if you wanted a special occasion to take a date or something to go up there was special. And
wow.
a lot of the people that worked in the bank, they would go up there for lunch and happy hour. And so it was quite the place to go to.
Wow. And it's so crazy because that building was Valley National Bank and then Chase, and now it's just kind of nothing.
Right. It's sad.
It is. I mean, still considered to be the tallest building in Arizona, but now there's nothing in it.
I heard they were going to do maybe condos or something.
Ah, well, that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I wonder what that top floor looks like. I mean, that would be one heck of a nice apartment.
Wouldn't it be? Oh my gosh. Would be.
What a great way to just see the sunset.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Question 8. What movie has a bus speeding by the hotel? And it's The Gauntlet.
With Clint Eastwood starring in The Gauntlet, and he was portraying I think he was a police officer, and I happened to be working that day when they were filming it. The bus is screaming by the hotel, and on the second and third floor of the parking garage, they had police officers shooting at the bus. As you can see, there's bullet holes in it. And of course, they were blanks that they were shooting at them. But they crashed it at Symphony Hall. That was where the police station was supposed to have been.
Did you get to meet Clint Eastwood?
I didn't get to meet Clint Eastwood, but it was incredible just to watch him filming this movie. So if people haven't seen it, they really should, because you can see some of the sights of downtown Phoenix, because it's not only in front of the hotel, it's other spots of the city.
Okay, so Rhonda, so you didn't get to meet Clint Eastwood, but I bet you met some other spectacular people.
Oh, have I? Oh my gosh, my list goes on and on. It's George Burns, Carol Channing, Debbie Reynolds, Burt Bacharach, Robert Mitchum probably was one of my favorites. Betty Ford. I've just met so many nice people here. I think the worst person I've ever waited on was Zsa Zsa Gabor. What an evil, nasty person she was. So that probably, of all the people I've met, maybe one out of how many thousands of people, it hasn't been bad. It's been a fabulous career for me. I love it.
Now, Rhonda, what about any, sports is such a big thing downtown. What about any sport basic athletes?
Well, we used to have all the teams used to stay here. And back in the day, oh my gosh, all of a sudden his name disappeared. With the cowboy, Gene Autry, he owned the Angels. And so they would stay at the hotel, and Gene Autry would come in the bar every morning and talk to everyone and have cocktail and wait for his teammates to come back from practice. And he would sit up at the bar and they would talk. And one day I had the opportunity, Rod Crew came in after practice and he threw a baseball at me, and I threw it back at him and said, sign it. And he made it into the Hall of Fame. And then we had all the basketball teams. I've met Charles Barkley, Manute Bull. It just goes on and on.
Wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And we've had the WE fighters or the WE wrestlers. They stayed at the hotel, so it was fun meeting all the wrestlers.
I'm sure that was. All right, question 9. The hotel has never been known by what name? It was never a Radisson, but it had a lot of other names.
It had 8. So we started out, it was the Adams, the Hilton, the Sheraton, the Omni, the Holiday Inn, Crowne Plaza, Wyndham, and now the Renaissance Marriott. So I've worked for 8 hotel chains and never left this property.
Wow. That's just amazing that it's been around that long and your history is so tied to that.
Mm-hmm. It is.
All right. So back in 1976, the horrific Don Bolles bombing happened. How was the hotel involved? Reporters stayed on the 15th floor?
Yes. It was all the big reporters from like Chicago. It's Bob Green. I can't think of a lot of the guys' names now, but George Weiss. All these people stayed here, and every night they would go out. trying to dig up things, what happened with Don Bowles. And so they had all their cameras, and it was a horrible, horrible thing that happened. And it took them a long time to finally find everybody and prosecute the people that had Don Bowles murdered.
And they still don't know exactly what happened.
No, they don't.
And so, but yeah, I mean, it was like, I mean, all those reporters coming here, basically several books, lots of articles have come out about that. About that experience.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard that they want to make a movie out of his story.
Well, I'm shocked it hasn't been done before.
I know. I heard at one time, I don't know if it was Casey or Ben Affleck, one of them might have bought the rights to make a movie of it.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I think it would be a great movie.
Well, and I do know the car might be making its way back to Arizona. It still belongs to the family, and it was in a museum in DC that shut down. And so I think it's still in DC, and so it might be making its way back to Arizona.
It should.
Indeed, I completely agree.
Mm-hmm. At the Arizona Republic.
Yeah. Or many museums, or what else. Now, I always love to ask people how they did on the trivia, but the more important thing is not just how you did, but look at the stories. So, and Rhonda, it was so much fun getting to sit down with you and going through some of your scrapbooks. How many scrapbooks do you have?
I have 26 scrapbooks of anything that's happened at the hotel or downtown, any of the conventions, anything that has to do with the hotel.
Wow, because I know you had a ton of postcards.
And I do. I collect postcards for all the old hotels, motels that have been downtown, the Adams Hotel, and just different highlights of like the parks. What am I trying to say? Where's the kiddie park? Over at
right, over in Canto Park.
Yes, in Canto Park. Any of the postcards that have anything to do with downtown. So I go out to the antique stores hunting for postcards or anything to do with the hotel.
Now, didn't you find a diary?
I did. That was my latest find. So I found this diary that was written in 1939 by a young girl. Her name was Victoria. She was 17, and she worked at a cleaner's downtown Phoenix. And now, this is just before the war, and she's 17 and has met this young man, and they like to go out dancing. And so she writes in her journal or her diary, and then all of a sudden she writes into shorthand. So I would love to know if anybody can read shorthand that could read this diary to find out. Maybe we've got a movie in this diary. Who knows?
Who knows?
But she wrote for 5 years. She wrote in this, so it's pretty cool.
Wow, that's really cool.
Uh-huh.
I mean, especially going back that far.
Right. I think she wrote to I think it was 1945 she finally stopped. But it would be interesting where her family, to find her family to give him this diary would be incredible.
Mm-hmm. No, that would be really cool. Funny, it's the last guest we had on the end of last year does postcard collecting. And so she is actually that have been sent to folks. And so she will actually make copies of things and send them on to the family that they came from.
Oh, that would awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's a really great thing to do. So it'd be kind of fun to try and track down Victoria's family and just say, hey, you might not know that this is still around.
Right. We've got her last name and her boyfriend's name and other people in the diary.
Wonder who she wound up marrying. Maybe it was that boyfriend.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm. It would be interesting.
Indeed. So, Rhonda, being 2024, what are you looking forward to in 2024?
I'm just looking for a new year to come, and hopefully more people will be coming back downtown, coming back to work in the offices, and getting back to what it used to be like. But the last couple of years have been, we're trying to get back with conventions and in business and stuff, but it's been kind of slow. So I just kind of want to see things kind of get come back.
Completely understand. I agree with you there. I
Mhm.
just want to see people start doing more things.
Exactly, especially like for lunch and on the weekends. Usually when we have a convention, we don't have any problem with people coming in and eating and drinking. But it's during the week when a lot of, there's people who are not back downtown to work, so it's kind of slow.
Ah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Well, Rhonda, thank you so
Well,
much
thank
for
you so
coming
much.
on and sharing some of your stories.
I loved it, Marshall. Thank you very much. It's a
Oh my
pleasure.
gosh. And and what a delight to go through some of those scrapbooks.
Yes.
So very good. Well, thank you so much and have a great rest of your night.
You too. Thank you, Marshall.
Oh my gosh. Rhonda, thank you so much. That was such a delight. And what people may not realize is that the bar that was famed for Governor Hunt having that Manhattan after statehood is the bar that you were actually sitting at, as well as the bar that PJ was making the cocktail at. So I just love that history just kind of keeps going on and on and on. And so thank you so much for sharing. And oh my gosh, what fun going through those scrapbooks. So as we get ready to go through, so this is from the vault, which is something you might drive by, but did a little road trip for New Year's, and so wound up at the Petrified Forest. So spent the night in Holbrook, where you can stay in one of those classic concrete teepees with some neon on it and a classic car parked out in front, and decided to go through the Petrified Forest. Hadn't done it in many, many years. And it was just shocking to see that even though it's been inhabited for 13,000 years, has been on people's radar since then, basically became a national park in 1906 when Roosevelt signed it into order. And it is famous for these petrified logs or wood, as you would call them, around. But there's so much more to this park. That was really the amazing thing of it. There was also Blue Mesa, where you go up to these badlands that you can almost reach out and touch. And they're violet to blue. And I mean, the colors. I mean, I was just overwhelmed, because this is something you don't really see that much when people talk about the Grand Canyon. I think the Petrified Forest kind of gets a little bit of I want to say almost like a bum's rush, because it's not quite at the level of the Grand Canyon. But oh my gosh, what an amazing location and drive. And as you're going along, you can see petroglyphs from some of those communities that were there 13,000 years ago, which was pretty amazing to be able to walk amongst those and watch the families. That was actually, I think one of the coolest things was just watching so many families getting up close and personal with these beautiful sceneries and walking around. There, you can also stumble across, they've now created a little a little apron you can drive on. And so this is a 1932 Studebaker, because it is on Route 66. And so just trying to play up kind of that romanticism of Route 66, which you literally are driving on to get there. Then also, as you're driving through, as you go up on the road, you cross over the 40 where you find this car. And then you've got the Painted Desert Inn, which is Mary Jane Coulter, a building she designed that's quite spectacular. So you can take a chance to go take a look at that. And again, just go look at the beautiful scenery around. I mean, all that. And then when you talk about buildings also, what people may not realize is that, so you don't just have Mary Jane Coulter, but Richard Neuter, who was a Southern California architect that did a lot of modern or minimalist stuff. They brought him in to do the public buildings at the Painted Desert. So the bones are still there from these amazing buildings that he designed. So you can go check those out as well. There were multiple gift shops. I mean, all kinds of fun things to do. And literally, I think I did that drive for almost 5 hours with a friend. It was a great way to spend the afternoon. And now you'll know why I say, if you're watching on Facebook, click on that share button, because we are sharing the love of Arizona through its history and just really enjoying our company and yours. And so you'll want to tune in to next month's episode, which is going to be right after Statehood Day, that Thursday at 7 o'clock. And our guest is going to be Nate from the Sedona Heritage Museum. Oh my gosh. And that's going to be such a fun episode. Oh, you will not want to miss that. All right. So, remember, if you have any questions, stories, suggestions, comments, I love to hear from you all. Now, as we get ready to say goodnight, I want to give a shout out to Chris and Cole for that great video, as well as PJ. I'm so glad after, doing this for 3-4 years, we were actually able to get you on screen making a cocktail. So I'm so happy we were able to do that. Now, as we say goodnight, I'm going to be playing the trailer from The Gauntlet, where you can see some of downtown Phoenix in the background. Enjoy, and I will see you in February.
Clint Eastwood is back in The Gauntlet.
You're flying to Las Vegas, coming back with a prisoner for us, whom you will remand to Cascadia County.
I work for Metro Squad. Why me?
Your division commander says you're a man who gets the job done.
My name is Shockley, and we've got a plane to catch. Now, let's go.
Shockley's got to be stopped. Stopped hard.
Open fire!
If there are any casualties other than Shockley and the girl, someone's going to be answerable. You.
I make the decisions.
Who are you protecting?
Me! I'm protecting me, okay? So lay off!
When are you gonna realize I'm not the enemy? This bike stays with me. You three can take a hike.
Hey, man, this is our choppers, Charlie.
This is my gun, Clyde.
He thought he knew everything about survival until he met a girl who knew more.
What if he gets through?
He can't get through.
What's wrong with you, man? This is the bus. I don't give a damn if it's Queen Elizabeth. Get your hand away from that lever.
He's gotten this far, hasn't he?
How many units have you deployed? 4 dozen, 5 dozen? And those marksmen you're using are the finest on the force.
He knew he was a good cop, and this was his chance to prove it.
Me, I'm going in.
Why?
At least someone will know I tried.
Who, Blakelock?
No, me.
All set?
Ready.
I suggest we let Shockley drive right into the city. Now, we have his route. We clear the streets along his route, deploy our men, and create an impassable barrier. A gauntlet, if you will. He won't have a chance.
This is the biggest day the city has ever seen, and the odds are 100 to 1 they won't make it. But they're willing to take that chance. Clint Eastwood in The Gauntlet.
And now you'll know why I say, if you're watching on Facebook, click on that share button, because we are sharing the love of Arizona through its history and just really enjoying our company and yours. And so you'll want to tune in to next month's episode, which is going to be right after Statehood Day, that Thursday at 7 o'clock. And our guest is going to be Nate from the Sedona Heritage Museum. Oh my gosh. And that's going to be such a fun episode. Oh, you will not want to miss that. All right.